Welcome back. In our last session, we talked about Google Docs, the word processing software for the Google Suite. Next, we're going to dive into Google Sheets, but in order to do that, we're going to be using Google Forms as well. And we're going to show you how to make a formative assessment that you could use in your own classroom to kind of help you build upon what you're already getting in your class. So let's take a look at that together. I'm going to go back to my Google Drive, which is where everything begins for me, and I'm going to go to Professional Development. The first place I'm going to go is to our practice test. I just want to show you what the final document is going to look like that we're creating. We're going to create a number of different types of questions during this section, and we're going to learn how we can use these questions to build a test that our students can take, and it can work as either a formative or a summative exam. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to click my blue New button. Now I need a Google form, but it's not listed here. If I click on the More button, there it is. Okay, I'm going to select a blank form, and I'm ready to begin. Let's go ahead and call this Practice Test 1. And I'm ready to start. I can change the color palette. Maybe you're not a purple person. Maybe orange is your color. Ooh, it's pretty bright. Maybe a nice tranquil blue so your kids don't freak out on you. And then you're ready to start typing your first question. My first question is going to be, which of the following is not one of the 7 dwarves? Okay. I could have made it with a math function. I could have inserted an image. I could even change what kind of question I want, but I want to start with a multiple choice question. So let's put in some answers. Doc, sleepy, easy, achy, bashful. So hopefully you know what the correct answer is. Correct answer is achy. But how do I show that? Well, just wait a second. First, what we're going to do is we're going to say that this is required. That makes it so that every student who's taking our test has to take this question. Okay? They have to give some answer. If I want to add another question, I just go up here to the side. I click Add Question. It's going to make it a multiple choice because my last question was a multiple choice. But I'm going to change, and I'm going to leave it as a multiple choice for a second. Okay? Now, this time I'm going to do a math question. So, I'm going to use a feature that I have, which lets me build equations and the equation that I'm going to build is just going to be right down here. So let me pull this right up. Equation editor. Now, let's say I am in a algebra class. Okay? So I'm going to enter in 3x plus 3y equals 15. And then I'm going to put in another component to that. X plus y equals 5. Okay? Insert my math. There it is. And I can put some question text above it so that students can see that. And I can say, which is a correct answer for x and y. Now, for those of you who are math savvy, you'll know that there are multiple answers that are correct here. So students are going to have to select the only correct option that I am going to give them. Okay? I'm going to get rid of that old math that I had, and I'm going to put in x equals 1, y equals 5. Insert that math. Okay? I could also simply type here, okay, and just put that in, right? We're not talking about anything too complex here. X equals 1, y equals, or let's do x equals 2, and y equals 5. Okay. For my third option, we'll do x equals 2 and y equals 3. And for my fourth option, let's do x equals 5 and y equals 1. Now, of course, the students could plug all of that information in. They could look for it. Okay, I'm going to eliminate this. I don't like that in that option. I like it so that they have to click on it. X equals 1, y equals 5. Now, they could plug and chug all this information in, see what works out and what's correct for them. Instead, hopefully, they're going to know that x equals 2 and y equals 3 is correct by doing the math. I could also change it, and I could include which is the correct answer for x and y, and then leave it as a paragraph where they have to solve the math and show their work for me. I'm going to make this one required as well. Okay, next one I'm going to do. Which of these Google software programs is free to use? Okay, and I'm going to make this a select all. Select all that apply. Okay, well, it automatically knows because I typed the word select all that I want this to be a checked box. So it automatically changed that information for me from being a multiple choice to being a select box. Okay, box, sheets, slides, forms, lines. Which of these are free? If you said all of them, you're right. Okay, all of these softwares that we've been talking about throughout these videos are free for you to use, and you could use them on your own, or you can use them in the classroom. Let's add a new type of question. How likely are you to use Google Forms as a tool for formative assessment? Again, Google is batting 1,000 right now because they figured out that I wanted this to be a Likert scale, a linear scale. And so they changed the question type for me. Now, I can do it from 1 to 10, 1 to 5. I'm going to leave it as 1 to 5, where I'm going to make 1 least likely and 5 most likely. Use this. I make it required, and I move on. Now, you're going to see once I'm done editing it, it's going to change it to look different. And this is what it's going to look like to students. They're just going to click a bubble to tell me how likely they would be to use this. Next, fill in the blank. Fill in the blank from the drop-down menu. And let's see if it switches it up. Nope, it doesn't. So we're going to have to help Google out. Chicken nuggets are blank. Well, let's give it a drop-down menu. Okay. What are they? They're delicious. They're gross. Something my kid eats. Or they're not even chicken. Make it required. Move on. We're all done here. Now, we talked about trying to set this up. maybe we want to turn this into an actual test. Okay, well, what could we do here? Okay, well, if we go to settings, okay, we can actually turn this into a quiz. Make this a quiz. We can assign point values. We can release the grade later after we manually grade it, because we have some things that will need to be manually graded. We have some question types that will be. We can collect email addresses automatically. We can limit it to one response. That way they're not taking the quiz multiple times. Do we want them to be able to edit it after they submit it? Probably not. Do we want them to be able to see summary charts and text responses after they answer the question? And that'll tell them how the rest of their classmates responded. Not today. Okay. So now we have a new component. It's an email address. And now if I go through, I can actually change the answers here. So if I click on this first question, you'll now see that there's an answer key at the bottom. I can click on the answer key. I can select A key, which is the correct answer. And I can make it worth 1 point. Okay. What was the correct answer for the second one? The correct answer was y equals 2, x equals 3. I can even put in answer feedback. For incorrect answers, I can say something like, nice try. And I can save that. And for correct answers, I can put something in like 8. This will let the students know how they're doing along the way. Okay. For my third one, I need to select all that were correct. Okay. I'm going to put in my answer key. I'm going to say it's worth 1 point. And all of these should be selected. Forgot to put in points up here, so let me do that real quick. For my last ones, I can't really assign a point value for this question, nor can I for the last one, even though there's probably a correct answer here. I just don't know what it is. And now I'm all set. I'm ready to get responses. Well, I don't have any responses yet because I haven't sent this to anybody. So I could click this big, huge send button right here, and I could send it out. How could I send it? Well, I could email it to my students. I could make a link. I could also embed it into a Google slide, or I could embed it into a website. I could put it on Facebook. I could share it via my Google Plus account. I could share it on Twitter if I wanted to. Okay? I could even change the size that it's going to appear. Okay? But here's the reason why we're talking about this, is because we also want to talk about Google Sheets. Okay? If I click this button right here, I can create a brand new spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet is going to automatically be formatted with the timestamp of when the student took the test, what their email address was, what their score was, because it's going to score these first three questions for me based on our answer key, and then each of the questions and how they responded. I can then go in and do conditional formatting in order to better understand this and look for, analyze the responses for weak data points. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this live. Okay, I want to send this out. See this? I'm going to go ahead and copy it, and I'm going to put it in here. Here's the practice test. Let's take it. Here's my email address. Whoop. Select it. Okay, now I'm ready to go. Who do I think it was? Well, I think it was Aki. Okay? And I think the correct answer to the second question is that one. And I think that's right. I know Google Docs is free, Google Sheets is free, Google Slides is free. I don't know about forms or drawings, but I'll assume that they're both free because Google seems to be that way. I am very likely to use Google Forms as formative assessment. And drop down, I think today chicken nuggets are something my kids eat. Submit my answers. Boom, I'm done. Google tells me that I'm all set. Awesome. And I can move on. Well, let's take a peek at our slides. There it is, and it automatically populated for me instantaneously, and I have the responses. I know that the student got a 2 out of 3 in this case. I see their answers that they gave, and I can even set up conditional formatting here that'll let me know who got it right and who got it wrong by color coding all of this information, and we can talk about that another day. Thanks for listening, guys.